Welcome to Triumph Beyond Trauma, the podcast that explores journeys of resilience and hope. I'm Rosie Skene, a yoga and breathwork teacher and founder of Tactical Yoga Australia. As a former soldier's wife, mum to 3 beautiful kids and a medically retired New South Wales police officer with PTSD, I understand the challenges of navigating mental health in the first responder and veteran community. Join us for incredible stories from individuals who've confronted the depths of mental illness and discovered their path to happiness and purpose, as well as solo episodes and expert discussions. Together, we'll uncover the tools to help you navigate your journey toward a brighter, more fulfilling life. Whether you're looking for helpful insights, practical tips, or just a friendly reminder that you're not alone, Triumph Beyond Trauma has got your back. You matter, and your journey to a happier, more meaningful life starts right here. Hello and welcome to episode 60 of Triumph Beyond Trauma. I am your host, Rosie Skene, and today it's just you and me. I wanted to take some time to talk about the break I've had over the past couple of months and a few other things that have been on my mind recently. I guess I should start by saying that 2025 has been a fucking roller coaster, to be honest, of emotions for me. I'm a complete empath, and honestly, I felt like I've taken on a little more than I can usually handle. Usually I'm able to process and manage things, but this year, between personal stuff and my ongoing workers' compensation experience, it's been different. I have a claim that was supposed to be finalised in the first week of January this year, and it still hasn't been. And honestly, it's been a lot. There's been accusations of dishonesty. I've been surveilled, and there was an independent psychiatrist who recommended I go on antidepressants for 6 months due to instability in an assessment just before June. And to be honest, that really didn't sit well with me. I've been able to manage my symptoms reasonably well over the years with the modalities that I've discussed in previous episodes. But this year's felt different. Of course, because of everything that I've had going on with the insurers, but also there's something else. I feel pretty intuitive when it comes to my body and my mind. And I knew that what I was experiencing was more than just the usual stress or low mood of my depression. It felt much deeper, much darker. And there were a lot of little things that were happening around it, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But after a lot of reflection, research, and discussions with my GP, we discovered that I was actually in the early stages of perimenopause. And that is a word that has been thrown around a lot. But I mean, the research is there. And now that I know what I'm dealing with, I've been able to address it, and I'm in a vastly different position, a very different person than I was earlier this year. I share this not because it's an especially exciting story, or that everyone needs to know what's happening with my hormones, but because many women, particularly from their late 30s onward, are misdiagnosed with depression when actually it's perimenopause or menopause. And as a result, some end up taking antidepressants when they may need something else entirely. So ladies, if something feels off and you can't quite pinpoint it, talk to your GP or a women's health specialist for some advice. Now I'm thinking so much more clearly, and many of the symptoms that I had earlier in the year that I was experiencing have reduced or disappeared completely. Thank fuck. And I'm sure my husband would echo that sentiment. This episode will be the last one for 2025. I've decided to take a bit more of a break from the podcast, and I'm going to pivot slightly in terms of employment, which I'm pretty excited about actually. Earlier this year, I was thrilled to start a role as a community engagement manager for a very well-known charity. I was immediately excited, but I really quickly realized that the role on paper and the reality of the position were vastly different. And I couldn't really fulfill that role to the best of my ability with the capacity that I had at that time, especially with everything else that I had going on. So I made a swift but difficult decision to step away. And as I reflect on it, I know that it was such a huge sign of growth for me, and for a few reasons. Like, the first one being I hate letting anyone down. Um, I I pride myself on being quite reliable, especially in a work situation. So that was difficult. The next thing is I usually push through, like a lot of first responders and veterans, I guess, and just keep going and just get it done. And it's usually to my own detriment. So to be able to pick this one up so quickly, I feel um, was really insightful for me. The next one is that I genuinely love this charity, and the founder. I think he's amazing. And the work that they are doing across the mental health landscape of Australia, and suicide prevention is incredible. And I was really sad actually to have to leave that position. But, and this is my last point, is that I had to put myself and my family first, and staying in that role would have meant giving it 110% of my energy and leaving very little for my family. And that is not something that I'm prepared to do. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity because it highlighted so many things for me, and questions were answered that I didn't even really know that I had. Attending the Beyond the Badge training with Sean Harron and Simon Bradstock really, really helped me process all of this. Remembering their lessons has helped me make the decision to step away. And I wanted to share that with you, that it's totally okay to try something new. And it's even more okay to say that this one just isn't for me. Every step, even sideways ones, brings you a little bit closer to where you should be. And that's exactly how I feel right now. The experience also made me realize that I need to take a little bit of a baby step away from the first responder mental health landscape for a bit and put my energy into something slightly different. With this podcast and my business, Tactical Yoga Australia, I spend a lot of time online, which is not something that I really love. And it can also feel socially isolating, which is fucking ironic, really, isn't it? So I feel like I need something that reconnects me with people. I love giving my energy to people in real life. I struggle with it online. I struggle with, I guess, the self-imposed pressure of regularly posting online. And I know that this little pivot that I'm about to take, and I'm not saying what it is yet because I'm not quite there, I hope it covers these little bases for me. With that said, the podcast is going to continue, and every episode that I've recorded and released up to date will still be available. So please, if you know anyone that would benefit from listening, share it with them, of course. The journeys of the people on here are always going to be relevant, and always going to be helpful. The First Responder Mental Wellness Method and Tactical Yoga Australia will also still be there. The program will always be available as long as I can keep it up there. I truly believe that the programs that I've built for first responders are incredibly beneficial for ongoing mental wellness, stress reduction, and self-care. And I'm so bloody proud of it. I've had a few people join this year, and I'm just so thrilled that I've been able to help more than the one person that I hoped to help when I created that program. Before we wrap up, I really want to take a moment to acknowledge a very special guest that I interviewed a few weeks ago, Kath. She is a beautiful Queensland Police Officer. Kath was absolutely incredible. We discussed domestic violence in the context of both her and her previous partner being serving police officers, and she shone a very, very bright light on the difficulties people can face as a serving officer when seeking help and support. Unfortunately, due to some legal concerns that I had, I made the decision not to air that episode. But I still want to sincerely thank Kath for taking the time to speak with me so vulnerably with the hope of helping other women. And personally, I've got experience with a couple of girlfriends that have been through a really shitty time over the last few years. And I really wanted to release that episode to help validate them and what they've been going through. And what so many other women in Australia and the world experience. And of course, men. But we know that women are much more likely to experience domestic violence. So it really was a hard decision to make not to release that one. But I did need to protect Kath and myself from any issues that might have arisen from that. So thank you so much, Kath. I value everything that you said. Yeah, just thank you. Something else I've been reflecting on when thinking about this episode is the reason why I started this whole thing. And honestly, it's really simple. I just wanted to share the journeys of first responders and veterans, their struggles with mental health, suicidal thoughts, attempts, and also the other side, the hope, the recovery, and the brighter road ahead that they may have missed if they had acted too soon. Here in Australia, we lose on average 9 people every single day to suicide, and 7 of those are men. And first responders are roughly 3 times more likely than the general population to die by suicide. And these aren't just numbers, these are people with families and friends who love them so much. Never did I think that I could reduce that number, but I had hoped that by sharing these journeys with people who are so generous with their stories, people might see that there is hope and reconsider any plans that they may have had. I have been absolutely thrilled to receive emails and DMs from listeners about how validated they feel listening to this podcast. And truly, that has been the biggest gift for me. This podcast is my hobby. It's entirely self-funded. I research, record, I read all of the books of the authors that I've had on. I produce it, I edit it, I promote it, all by myself. It's been a massive undertaking, and honestly, I've loved every minute of it. And I know that the way that I'm speaking right now might sound like it's the end of the podcast, but it's not. I'm just being very reflective right now. And I'm going to take a pause to gather my thoughts and feelings and to see where this next little move does take me. I am beyond grateful for every single one of you listening, for supporting the work I do with my guests. I want to thank all of my guests from the very first Maggie Deal to last week's Daniel Vincent and every single one in between. I have had my own personal friends on. I've had strangers on. I've had authors on. I've had just the best experience with so many different people. The conversations that I've had with each of you has been the greatest gift. And it's not just for the listeners, but for me too. I've grown so much in these past 2 years, and I couldn't be happier. I love this podcast so much. I feel like it's my contribution to the first responder and veteran community, and I cannot wait to see what's in store next year for the pod. So with all of that, I say thank all of you for listening. Merry Christmas. Happy 2026. Be kind to yourself and to each other. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any new ones. We release fresh content every Tuesday. And while you're there, take a moment to leave us a review. I would genuinely appreciate your thoughts. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Tactical Yoga Australia and share this episode with your friends, family and workmates to spread inspiration. Your support means the world. My name is Rosie Skene. Join me again next week for another empowering and positive episode of Triumph Beyond Trauma. Until then, be kind to your mind and trust in the magic of your consistent and positive efforts. Triumph beyond your trauma is closer than you think. Have the best week.